at Grand Prix Pittsburgh. Hello and welcome to round 5 here at Grand Prix Pittsburgh. The format's modern. I'm Brian David Marshall. Sitting beside me is Pro Tour Hall of Famer Randy Buehler, and we are about to watch a battle.
What is going on with these decks?
Of Pro Tour champions. Pro Tour champion Craig Wescoe facing off against Pro Tour champion Rawlings here at 4-0, and green-white aggro, Hate Bears, as it's more commonly known from Craig Wescoe, against Naya Zoo from Rawlings. What is this? Why does this matchup surprise you so much?
They're both playing creatures. What are they doing with creatures in their deck? Do they not know how this metagame works? No, seriously. Ari's is, it's kind of a Tarka red. Monastery Swiftspear, Tarka's Command, Eidolon. He's got Goblin Guides and Wild Nicodles. Yeah, he's.
Is he not? Does he have white? I
He's
see
got
a Boros
Nicodle.
Charm. I see. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Naya.
Yeah.
Right. The lands in Modern let you add white to your essentially a Tarka red deck.
And this is really the deck that he's played. He played at the last Pro Tour in Standard.
Yeah, it's funny. It only overlaps by probably the Swiftspear and the Atarka's Command. Everything else, you just get incremental upgrades, right? Goblin Guide is better than Zurgo.
Just a little.
Right.
Just a little.
Rift Bolt is better than Wild
The
Slash.
second Goblin Guide's much better than the second Zurgo.
Indeed.
So we see a pair of Aether Vials for Craig Wescoe.
Yeah, Craig's deck is, Hate Bears, it's almost Death and Taxes-ish, although I guess those decks are mostly, that moniker's mostly used for mono white decks. He's Noble Hierarch, Kasali Pride Mage, Voice of Resurgence. He's got Leon and Arbiter to hate people out. He's got Thalia with a couple copies in the main, locks it on Smiter, Aven Mind Sensor. But then he's also got this more aggro element of the deck where he even goes up to Wiltleaf Liege.
Okay. Here comes Monastery Swiftspear. Gonna play a Goblin Guide as well. I'm gonna attack you for 6.
It's turn 2, no problem.
Yeah, on turn 2.
Here's 6. I didn't have any prowess triggers for my Swiftspear, so only 6.
So there's a land for Craig Wescoe off the Goblin Guide. He goes to Path to Exile, the Wild Nicodle.
Yep.
And we successfully see someone get a land off their Path to Exile. We haven't seen one yet. All the paths have just been strict upgrades to swords so far in this tournament.
Craig's not done yet? Oh, he is done. Okay.
Yep, just doing the mechanical, tap my Aether Vial whenever I can.
I hadn't seen a list. I like the Craig's Green White aggro list here. I like the, Voice and Kasali Pride Mage up into Wiltleaf Liege. It looks a little bit like the Wilted Obzon decks that did reasonably well at a recent Modern Pro Tour.
Oh, it's funny, just last round we watched the blue-white version of this beat Owen, like a blue-white Hate Bears.
Right, sure. Yeah, that's a lot heavier on the hate, though, right? Anyway, nice list. No, there's no...
Craig is, I believe Craig converted some other members of Team Ultra Pro to this deck. I know he was very high on it for this tournament.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's the Wilted Obzon deck, but just without the black. It's got a little more white weenie hate action instead of the, the Thought Seizes. And
so there's an Arbiter, and there's a Path to Exile. No search because he's tapped out.
Yeah, Arbiter Path is clever.
I don't know how many basic lands Ari actually plays.
He's got to have more than one, I would think. He has 2 mountains. 2. Can't go get it, though. Not with Leon and Arbiter there.
So Lightning Bolt targets the Arbiter. Down comes, I'm going to guess, Eidolon of the Great Revel. Yes.
That's why you play your Lightning Bolt at sorcery speed before your creature.
But that Eidolon is not a huge tax on Craig Wescoe's deck, because he can play every creature he draws for the rest of the game. And he goes.
He's going to respond to the Eidolon with a path. But Ari sequenced it correctly. Does get the free land this time. Come on, should be one more, he's saying. He's not holding it, is he? Checks his hand. No, there should be a mountain in here. It's like, uh-oh, I better find this mountain or I got to... Where is it? It's in his graveyard. Hilarious. The second basic mountain's in his graveyard. And he just missed it. Forgot about it. How did it get there anyway? I wasn't paying attention.
I don't know how the mountain would get into his graveyard.
That's it at the top of his graveyard, though, right?
Sure looks like it. Did he discard it for something?
I don't know. Maybe that's a fetch land and I'm just misseeing. His deck list definitely has 2 basic mountains on it.
It's possible it's in his hand. It is.
It is in his hand.
It is in his hand.
It's
Okay.
in his hand. That makes way more sense. Yeah, that's a Scalding Tarn. I'm just like saw the right edge of the land and it looked reddish. But
so Aether Vials go up to 3 and 2. Until he draws a Wilt Leaf Leash. Probably stick around there. There's a Tonic Edge.
It's able to deprive Ari of white mana.
So here comes Goblin Guide. Can you attack into 2 untapped Aether
I don't think you can
Vials?
afford not to. I mean, the thing is, how's Ari winning this game? He's down to like 1 card in his hand. He's drawn a lot of lands for a Naya Zoo deck.
So,
Voice of Resurgence. Yeah. Decides to trade with the Eidolon rather than the Goblin Guide.
Yep. They trade. Gets a token.
Hey, Craig, let's go. Platinum player card.
Ari falls to 10.
It's interesting how aggressive Ari is, just cracking his fetch lands, main phase, getting tapped lands because of Arbiter and even Mind Sensor shenanigans. The Mind Sensor in particular.
Both cards are in the deck, right?
Yeah.
We've seen the Arbiter.
Yeah, the Arbiter you can usually respond to, but the Mind Sensor can sometimes respond to you cracking your fetch land, and all of a sudden you're searching the top 4. Yeah, Ari hasn't actually seen a Mind Sensor, but he just knows the sorts of cards that are going to be in Craig's archetype well enough that he's cracking those fetch lands proactively.
I mean, and this is an archetype that Ari's played in Legacy, actually.
Good point.
When you talk about Death and Taxes.
No, you're right.
That is definitely a deck Ari has been known to play. I think when he won the Legacy Championship, that was the deck he played.
Great point.
So a elemental token is attacking for 3 here. Or attack for 3. Goblin Guide reveals an Arbiter on top.
Riftbolt just going to take out the token. I mean, Craig is empty-handed too, so Ari's trying to manage the board such that he gets to keep attacking. I mean, that is his best route to victory here. Craig, though, now has a 2/2 that he can play. He's also got a Horizon Canopy he can cash in at some point. He's also up 4 life.
I think he's going to cash it in right now.
Yep.
Yes, he does. Tax for 1. So card in hand. Ari's aware of it, but now it's interesting.
Oof, it's a big boy. He's even given Craig the advance notice. Craig, during your next upkeep, you might consider ticking Aether Vial up to 4. I don't know. Maybe you're going to top deck a 4-drop.
Well, it's kind of interesting, right? Depending on if it had been a 3 or a 2 there, he could actually crack the Horizon Canopy, put it in hand.
Indeed. Now, Craig does play his Arbiter, trades it off with the Goblin Guide. He's not interested in taking damage. Man, these Horizon Canopies look great when you get 2 Aether Vials.
Yeah, that one's going 4.
Indeed.
Stick the other one on 2. He's more likely he has far more 2s than he does 3s.
Right.
All right. Here comes Wilt Leaf Liege.
Pumping up Noble Hierarch.
Yeah, but he also drew a Kasali Pride Mage, I believe.
Did he really?
Here. Yes, he did.
Wow.
So that is a giant Noble Hierarch right now. Double exalted, getting a +1/+1 bonus for being green. And Ari Lax scoops it up.
Yep.
Makes a face like he smelled something a little bad.
He was a little flooded.
Yeah.
He definitely drew more lands than he wanted to. And Craig turned his land into cards via Horizon Canopy. So everything kind of worked out exactly the way Craig Wescoe drew it up when he put that deck together.
Yeah, this is the archetype that Craig always wants to be in. He wants to be in a token strategy or a white-green strategy. There you get a look at Craig Wescoe. Yeah, 3 Pro Tour top 8s, 3 Grand Prix top 8s. He won Pro Tour Dragon Maze.
This deck is as close to White Weenie as you can get in Modern right now, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Noble Hierarch is almost a White Weenie. You know, he's got Thalia, he's got Leonin Arbiter, Kasali Pride Mage is white.
Right, it's just
Scavenging Ooze is honorable mention.
Basically, the premise of this deck is there's a bunch of really cool things you can do in Modern.
Yeah.
And I would like you to not do any of them.
While building a very proactive and aggressive
Right.
game plan. Right, he's not going to kill somebody on turn 3 or 4, but you leave him alone, he's going to kill you on turn 5.
Yeah.
Maybe he needs 6.
There you get a look at Ari Lax, currently 23 in the top 25 pro player rankings. 60 pro points last season. That's what happens when you win a Pro Tour.
Well, but I mean, 60 is a lot more than you get just
Yeah.
for winning the Pro Tour.
Yeah.
I actually think he just had a good year, full stop, even if you ignore the Pro Tour win.
Yeah, the one top 8, I mean, he was going into last season, he was really right at the top of that list of, well, when is this guy going to get a top 8?
Finally break through, right.
And he
right,
not only got the top 8, but he also got the win. You know, has really become a big fixture. His team, BMK Gaming, or
I guess, yeah, they're now Team Brian Kibler somehow.
You know, this is a team that he and Craig have really, had both been on for a while.
True.
Craig has gone on to be a member of Team Ultra Pro now, but this is something he's been doing for a long time, really cultivating this group of players who are all up and coming. Even before that.
Yeah, and you can see the back table. I mean, Brad Nelson has been testing with those guys.
Yeah.
From time to time. Brad Nelson playing against Kyle Boggemes back there. I believe Kyle is actually on a Naya company deck. And Brad's on Infect.
Very exciting. Kyle, of course,
Loxton and Smiters everywhere.
finalist in Pro Tour San Diego, the year Simon Gertson won.
Yeah, Naya company. This is, it's funny, there's a lot of the same cards from Craig's deck. Hierarch, Kasali Pride Mage. But, I mean, a little bit bigger curve because you're trying to max out Collecting
He
Company,
actually
right?
looks like you shuffled his and Craig and Ari's deck together a little bit.
You get the lightning bolts. And Brad, yeah, there's turn 1 Glistener Elf. It's like, oh boy, all right, let's see what happens from here.
Brad is up 1 game
Yeah,
here.
this is game 2.
As you can see from the 8 poison that's still lingering by Kyle's name.
Oh, that's from last game. Right?
Yes.
Okay.
There's a Tarmogoyf for Kyle. Saw some people running tar fires this weekend, looking to get their Tarmogoyf all the way up.
Sure. Sometimes see seals in those decks as well. Get an enchantment in the graveyard.
Yeah.
Seal of Fire. Take 2. Tar Fire versus Seal of Fire. It's a fascinating debate. Which is the better way to get an extra creature, extra card type for your
Both.
Tarmogoyf?
In comes Glistener Elf. Gets 2 poison on Kyle.
On Tom Ross.
Oh, that's wonderful. The
That
Tom
is
Ross
perfect.
counter for Infect counters.
Love it. Yeah, I don't know that Brad Nelson and Andrew Cuneo have ever teamed up, but somehow through the sheer force of Tom Ross with an Infect deck in his hands, he's gotten both of them onto this.
By the way, in case you're wondering, that's a 1/2 Tarmogoyf.
Yeah, just land.
There's a Ghost Quarter. Ghost Quarter myself.
Yeah, he's hurting for colored mana. Just the Temple Garden for colored mana so far, so.
Brad's like, I feel like I want to respond to that. Goes and gets a forest. What has Kyle got up his sleeve? All right, Kasali Pride Mage. And gets in for 2 with his Tarmogoyf.
It's a lot of work to get Tarmogoyf to 2-3.
Briefly, temporarily to 2-3.
Right.
And then, with the effect that he's, am I dead? Yeah.
Right. Gotta be a little worried about it. He's probably blocking with Pride Mage. Hoping that's good enough. Yeah, I saw the Serum Visions for Brad. I think that's what he's going to start his turn with. Can we do picture-in-picture to see the resolution of this? Sounds like our first match is getting ready to go, but I feel like this is going to be a key turn or two. I'm kind of curious to see how this game goes. Perfect. Okay, Craig and Ari down in the corner. Let's see if Brad Nelson can stitch this together.
Wait, he's playing that combo too?
No. There will be no stitch together cast while Brad stitches his combo together.
Okay. So
yeah, snap block from Kyle. Yeah. And new Infect creature for Brad? Yes, new Infect creature for Brad.
A new old Infect creature. So now there are some cards. The Tarmogoyf is, I believe, a 3/4 actually, right? Land, sorcery, and creature. Another Pride Mage. No, another Tarmogoyf.
It's gotten bigger. There's a creature in the graveyard now. There's the Serum Visions. It's all very exciting. 3/4 Tarmogoyf counter hanging out on your screen too.
You can see in the lower corner, Goblin Guide into Eidolon for Arilax on the play.
Twisted Image cycled for Brad. Just wants to draw a card. Did he draw something interesting? He wants to clear a path. Pretty sure I saw an Apostle's Blessing hanging out in Brad's hand. So Kyle's plan here is to block Glistener Elf with Tarmogoyf. I mean, at some point, especially, you give the Infect player a couple of turns, you kind of need to block all their Infect creatures if at all possible. And Apostle's Blessing, probably going to deny Kyle that opportunity here. See Gitaxian Probe in Brad's hand as well.
He also has a Vines of the Vastwood in hand.
Okay, here's Gitaxian Probe. What you got? Okay, path but no mana. I can deal with that. Here is Vines. Oh, there you go. Groundswell, Vines of the Vastwood, and make my guy unblockable. Kill you dead, says Brad Nelson. Kyle's just going to make sure he drew it up right.
Yeah, that hit so hard, I think his mother takes 4 poison.
Kyle's just going to make him go through it slower. Yeah, okay, main phase. Here we go. Groundswell. Okay. Kicked Vines of Vastwood. You do have to kick the Vines of Vastwood. And there's the Apostle's Blessing. All right. Kyle made sure that Brad actually did have it all, and he did. So Brad Nelson
goes to 5-0. All right. Meanwhile, a Burnt and Forge Tender has come down to try to do a little bit of work.
Nice.
For Craig Wescoe. Loxodon and Smiter joins the party. But it looks like Craig is down to, I think we saw he was down to 8 there while we get the score updated. All right, path your Smiter. Oh, he's at 11.
And Ari, once again, dealing damage to himself even faster than he deals it to Craig. And Fortune Tender gets to keep blocking here, but Ari can just attack into it.
And that's exactly what he does.
It's not like you can kill anything.
Ugh. That's not what you want to see.
Neither Vial, not a great turn 4 top deck. It's true. Craig just trying to decide whether he wants to block the Swift Spear, which could potentially be the biggest creature, or block one of the actual 2-power creatures right now. He only wants to block Swift Spear if Ari's going to play 2 spells. It seems unlikely.
Well, there is a Boros. Oh, there's an Atarka's Command in hand.
My. Atarka's Command, 3 knocks Craig down to 8, +1 on the creatures, turns 6 more. Think this puts Craig at 2?
With a Boros Charm in hand for Arilax.
Yeah, I mean, it goes to 3-power Swift Spear, 3-power Eidolon. Craig can still respond to this. Burnt Forge Taster can stop the damage from the Atarka's Command, right?
Yeah.
That's why our life total's back up to 11. Craig has to decide if it's time to cash in the Fortune Tender.
I think he does. It certainly looks like he's leaning that way.
Yeah. 5 feels a lot safer than 2, but you've also got to deal with 3 creatures on the other side of the table, right? One of which is an Eidolon.
Right. So you can sacrifice it to prevent all damage a red source would do. So that could be the Atarka Command.
Right.
Could also be the Eidolon or
Swift Spear, yeah.
Just doesn't really matter.
They're all 3s at this point. All right, Craig falls to 2. Good luck. First spell. Ari's like, I will not forget this trigger. I will not forget this trigger. I will not forget this trigger. Oh, that's too expensive. I don't get a trigger.
Sigarda, Host of Herons.
Ari says, I have a Boros Charm. I didn't need to kill you with an Eidolon trigger. I promised to cast Boros Charm on my turn. And then if you sack Boros, your Forge Tender, I promise to attack with my other creatures.
I guarantee myself victory next turn with this card.
On to game 3.
What cards does... I mean, obviously, Wescoe has a lot of options in the green-white deck out of the sideboard in terms of things like Burlington Forge Tender or the Sigarda, which he brought in.
He can do better.
Really?
Yes. He has 2 copies of Core Firewalker. That is the best one, I think. He's got 2 Core Firewalker, 2 Bornton Forge Tender, and obviously the Sigarda came in. And then, Spell Skites probably come in this matchup. Dismember probably doesn't. But yeah, 2 Forge Tender, 2 Core Firewalker, plus a couple of Spell Skites. He gets to do some serious surgery to his deck.
What does Ari get to do? That's...
Ari gets to stare off into space and contemplate his options. Molten Rain doesn't sound exciting. He gets Searing Blaze, which is pretty good against a creature deck. He gets Path to Exile, which I think he brings in here.
Yeah. That path seems fine for him.
Yeah, especially as he starts to see. I don't know if he has seen Craig's Firewalkers, but he would definitely want Path.
I think once you see the Forge Tenders, you have to assume the Firewalkers are there as well, right? Or do you...
No, I mean, the fact that you see Forge Tender means, I think that makes Firewalker less likely.
I can't imagine playing the Forge Tender and not playing the Firewalker.
Well, but I mean, if you think that what you're going to run into red-wise is, Radiant Flames,
sure. Oh,
Anger
fair,
of the Gods type stuff.
Yeah, no, that's
right.
true.
No, if you know you're going to run into Zoo, or, burn decks, really,
Yeah.
the Firewalker. I mean, look, I think you just, as a burn player, have to assume that all your white opponents have core Firewalker, and you must bring in Path to Exile. I mean, I think you just start there. You'd have to see a lot of cards to convince yourself the coast was clear, and there were not actually. Core Firewalker is so good, Ari has it in his sideboard, too. For the mirror.
Players shuffle up here for a huge game.
Yeah,
3.
it's a big game. 5-0 feels just a lot better than 4-1.
World Magic Cup coming up December 11th through 13th. We're going to be in Barcelona, Spain.
That's going to be so much fun.
Yeah, it's pretty difficult to be in Barcelona in December. Sorry,
Somebody's got to do it.
but yeah. Really excited to see.
It's not like we're going to take that much advantage of being Barcelona. We're going to be playing. We're going to be watching Magic, playing Magic.
I'm getting there early.
All right, fair enough.
I'll be there before December 11th.
I will admit to having checked a soccer schedule.
Yeah, 71 teams, 71 countries have put teams into World Magic Cup.
We're up to 71.
Yeah, I think that was last year's
That
total.
number's great.
Yeah, just like the best players from countries all over the world coming together, compete. We've seen some great. Last year's World Magic Cup, the Danish team. That
was a lot of fun.
The Doom Blast has got to be a top 5 memory, top deck moment. In all the years I've been doing this.
Yeah. Be interesting to see can the Danes defend their title? Can the Greeks get back into the final?
The Danes are pretty exciting.
Yeah. I think that part's more likely than the Greeks getting back in the final, but we'll see.
Yeah.
All kinds of storylines.
Bill Chronopoulos won a World Magic Cup qualifier again, so
nice.
He gets to come back.
Very
so
nice.
there's Noble Hierarch for Craig Wescoe, leading things off.
Team USA is actually disappointed with their top 4 finish.
Oh,
from
yeah,
last
I'm
year.
sure they are.
Would like to run
And,
back.
it's kind of interesting to see Neil Oliver coming back and getting the opportunity. But, we're underway. Lightning Bolt takes down Noble Hierarch.
Even the Zoo deck says, it's turn 1 and I can bolt the bird. Bolt the bird. You just do not want to let decks that play turn 1 mana creatures have that creature survive.
Craig's got
colored mana problems.
Yeah.
Okay, he can play the Arbiter, but he could not play the green-white creatures in his hand.
It looks like he has a voice. Yeah, he has a Voice of Resurgence, and he also had a Thalia
and a Brimhouse.
Yeah.
There's the Searing Blades we talked about. In from the sideboard, spectacular in this matchup. Path to Exile. Is Craig going to have to Ghost Quarter himself?
Are we going to see this twice?
I mean, he gets to play Brimaz, right? Tap the Tech Edge for colorless, then Ghost Quarter it. Go get a Plains. He's decided Thalia is a better play.
And if your opponent's pointing their burn at your, their bolts anyway, Searing Blaze is going in both directions.
Yeah, part of the issue for Ari is that he has no green mana for his Wild Nacatl.
Okay, a couple of Monastery Swift Spears have to sort of pump the brakes.
2-1 first strike over there. Now, Ari does have a Lightning Bolt. It would have cost him 2 mana to kill Thalia, so he decides to play the Swift Spears first. Now, if he still doesn't draw green mana, next turn is probably, even if he does draw green mana, next turn is probably 2 mana Lightning Bolt to clear path, hit you with a couple of 2-power Swift Spears.
You definitely want to get your Brimaz in play here, don't you?
If I'm Craig, I am Ghost Quartering myself this turn. Thalia makes sense. First strike is powerful. The taxing effect is obviously powerful, but yeah.
I think that's what's happening here.
Tech Edge for colorless. Ghost Quarter, sack it. I can go get my own basic land. So effectively, he's down a land long term, but he's fixed his color mana, and he's not down a mana this turn because he still has the 3.
Right. So here comes Brimaz.
It's a pretty big boy.
And so there's a Path to Exile for Ari, but again, then he has to pay 2 mana to do that.
If he had the land, then he could have done both, right? He could have killed Thalia first and then
Right.
Path. He'll settle for killing the Brimaz. and hitting for 4.
Wow.
Yeah, both players scuffling on colored mana, and it's turned into kind of an interesting game. This feels like...
I mean, Craig is already down to 9 here.
Yeah, no, it's probably just edge Ari. Like, he's been able to manage his mana issues better, basically because he's removed all Craig's creatures. If Craig runs out of creatures, then what does his deck do? Craig's problem's now a distant... Think of the distant path, though. Path to exile. Giving him another basic. Dahlia keeps attacking.
Okay, there's Voice of Resurgence.
Yeah, that one's a little harder to clear. Once again, Ari needs Path to Exile to do it, really. Interesting, yeah. Attack with the 1/2s. Now he can kill Thalia and get half a Voice of Resurgence for his trouble,
Okay,
thanks to the prowess
except
trigger.
that he can let the Thalia goes. Now he can path the Monastery Swift Spear if he wants here. That unlocks the path for him. The question is, which one?
Swift Spear, yeah. Do you want to save 2 damage, or do you want to keep your Voice of Resurgence alive?
Yeah, he wants to save the damage. I mean, yeah, makes total sense. He wants to keep the damage, keep his life total as high as possible here. He's got another Voice of Resurgence for next turn.
Right.
Voice dies. He gets a creature. A 1/1 elemental.
Ari's almost slogged through all of Craig's creatures. Still 1 left, though. Wow, it's like 1.5.
There's a
Burnt Forge Tender.
That's worth taking a damage for. Oh, he doesn't even need to. Yeah. And now he has a 3/3 elemental token.
Attack!
Wow.
Well, I mean, Craig needs to kill Ari before Ari draws 8 points of burn. I mean, that's his thinking.
He's close.
Right. Ari's already got a Boros Charm in his hand, so he's 1 Boros Charm away from just burning him out. Ari also has Goblin Guide. Just like, if he goes Goblin Guide, Boros Charm, attack, is that good? Oh, 2 Nacatls just sitting in Ari's hand. If Ari draws 1 fetch land at any point in this game, I think it would have been an easy win, given Craig's colored mana problems and all the removal Ari had. Well, he's got a Rift Bolt and a Boros Charm, which is 7 points of damage, although
Forge Tender gets to, yeah. Although I guess you get to mitigate that by doing that before attacks.
Yeah, I mean, Ari may be tempted to just fire off a Boros Charm here and see what Craig does.
Plays Goblin Guide and passes the turn.
So he's sitting on Boros Charm.
Oh, Craig is empty-handed.
Yeah. Yeah,
he's just drawn his 1 card for turn. He technically has another card stored on the table in Horizon Canopy, and he cashes that in. So we assume Ari's going to fire off that Boros Charm at the end of turn here.
Or he may do it in mid-combat if Craig attacks. Get the prowess trigger.
Sure. But then that would also create an elemental, so...
I was a little surprised he didn't do it main phase.
Yeah.
It seemed like if Craig had sacked Forge Tender, then Ari would be able to attack with his guys. And if Craig hadn't sacked Forge Tender, then Ari would have resolved his Boros Charm successfully. Wow. Double block, and there's the path to exile.
Wow. Oh, so, yeah. So the 2 cards that Craig drew this turn, he has a Loxodon Smiter that's sort of still sitting in his hand, but he did find a path to exile.
Still no land for Ari.
Rift Bolt the token.
Yeah. It's not a great sign for Zoo when it's killing the creatures, but it is the way this game has played out, it makes sense. I mean, it's just Ari couldn't quite run Craig out of creatures. And Borton Forge Tender's just hanging out, making sure nothing goes too far wrong.
Yeah. So in for 3, Ari falls to 6, And here is a Loxodon Smiter. And there's a Bolt. Bolt, Blaze,
And Boros
and
Charm.
Boros Charm, yeah.
He said that one turn where he didn't play the Boros Charm, though. I wonder if he forgot about the Voice of Resurgence briefly. Planned to do it end step. Just leaving that mana
Or just maybe
completely
that there'd be a
unspent.
more tactical application for it.
Yeah, it just felt bad to leave that mana unspent. I don't think it actually matters here because, again, the Forge Tender can stop one burn spell.
Ari is hemmed in here.
Yeah. Even if he... Man, what is he supposed to do? I guess he can kill the Voice on Craig's turn. Give Craig a token.
He's gonna scoop.
Yeah, he's just like, this does nothing works.
And you see a look on Craig's face, on Ari's face. He's like, "What? I feel like I should have been able to navigate those waters."
He's
Not
also
sure
a
what I
little
did.
frustrated that he never did find green mana for the 2 Wild Nacatls in his hand. I mean, those clearly would have changed the game. But the last couple of turns, he drew enough burn that he could have. Feels like he should have been able to do something a little more proactive.
So we're gonna go back to our other table now. We have a new match in there. We have Alexander Hayne.
Sure.
We talked about the World Magic Cup. He won a qualifier for the Canadian national
Canadian
team.
team is going to be good.
He's playing Amulet Bloom, and he's playing against Peter Rawlings. Peter, normally on our one of our text coverage guys. Peter's playing here. He's at 4-0, playing Scape Shift.
Yeah, I was curious to see if people would show up with Scape Shift. It seems to me that the battle lands actually help this deck a little bit. Like, you get more dual lands in your deck that count as mountains.
Right.
That is definitely, a thing that Scape Shift can somehow worry about. Now, I don't think we're going to get to talk about this match from the Scape Shift perspective very much because...
Well, because Teleria West has just been transmuted for Pact of Negation.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. We showed up and Primeval Titan was in play for the Bloom player. Things definitely look coming up Alexander Hayne here. He's top 8 at a GP previously with Amulet Bloom. This is definitely a deck that he's one of the guys who's put in the time to play Bloom and to get good and learn all the lines.
And Peter is...
It's interesting. There's this almost consensus among the pros that Amulet Bloom... No, none of the pros think Amulet Bloom will be a big deck when we get to the Pro Tour. Everyone is kind of expecting, okay, you know what, the next BNR list, R&D will probably take a look at this deck because it does degenerate things so early in the game that the people who put in the time to sort of extract all of that win probability, I mean, look, it loses to itself a lot, but, if you lose to yourself 30% of the time, even 40% of the time, but never lose to anything else, that's a great deck. So a lot of the pros, I think, are looking at this weekend as the last chance to really take the Bloom deck out for a spin.
Or
at a premier level event.
to emphatically demonstrate why it needs to be put in the
Fair.
showroom. Okay, in comes Primeval Titan.
This is the last call for silence for the GP rebound event. If you want to play longer than the fan rebound event, ready to sign up now.
Yeah, he's going to get the Sunhome Fortress. We're going to see some double striking.
Sure. Yeah, well, that just makes the Primeval Titan lethal
Yes.
right here.
What could Peter has to have 2 answers here?
Well, you can, right, because of the Pact of Negation.
Yeah, that's the game. Alexander Hayne goes to 5-0. Amulet Boom. I like that name better, by the way.
Amulet Boom.
Amulet Boom. I play an Amulet. My deck
Nice
goes
Freudian
boom.
slip. Awesome.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, no, Alexander. Yeah, I had. Oh, yeah, you knew I had that. All right, so that's it for the live action here in round 5. We do have a replay to show you, though.
Wow, turbo match. Unspoiled, new to us magic.
Exactly.
And the match is Andrew Cuneo against Steve Rubin.
Yeah, a pretty nice matchup.
Indeed. Andrew, we mentioned, is on Infect. Rubin is on Living End.
Really, two players with like Pittsburgh roots.
True. Absolutely. Yeah, I was thinking of Cuneo as defending the home turf, but Steve's a local as well.
Rubin is a Pittsburgh guy. You'll see him in a Pirates cap. He's from the area. So okay, so that is it here for the live action in round 5 of Grand Prix Pittsburgh. We'll be back with more Magic.
Welcome back, guys.
Hey, everybody. So I was just